What's good, y'all? Welcome to my review for episode 18 of Dragon Ball Daima. First of all, guys, sorry about the delay with this review, man. As you guys know, today is Mother's Day, although I'm be honest, I thought it was yesterday because I saw a bunch of, anime, Japanese accounts, anime, fan art accounts posting on Twitter yesterday, but happy Mother's Day with, Hero Walk and stuff, so I literally thought yesterday was Mother's Day, but it was actually today. Anyway, so I forgot it was Mother's Day, and by this point my mom or my parents didn't mention anything about us going out tomorrow for Mother's Day or nothing. Then, I'm in the middle of playing Ultra in the morning, right? I'm gonna finish up, play 2 matches, and then I'm gonna get started on Dragon Ball the Daima review. This was at 10 in the morning, at 10 a.m. or whatever. And then all of a sudden, my parents started yelling and screaming at me hey, we're going to the Cheesecake Factory. Get dressed. Literally, I'm mid-match. I'm in a minute, I'm in the mid-match. And they're pause the game. And I'm I can't pause the freaking game. I'm woman, I can't pause the game. It's online. So, whole thing. Finish up the match I was on, which we low-key which wasn't really the best game though. The game right before that one, we damn near soloed the entire lobby. At least it seemed because every player we fought out against, we always beat them. But we ended up losing the match anyway to the final team because they just got the drop on us and I wasn't paying attention to my health. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked by Ultra Rumble. So I got dressed, we go there. So I got dressed, we leave, we go there, and then finally after we went to the Cheesecake Factory, they went there to go get some groceries from Wickman's or whatever it's called. Anyway, then we got home, which wasn't until 4:30ish, and finally we got home. I take off my shoes and everything, man. Watch the episode, and now I'm finally doing the review at 5 o'clock. So usually by now the review would usually be done by now, and I would already be editing the video, if not already finished with the video completely, and posting it to YouTube at this point. But yeah, so I'm gonna start. So yeah, like I said, if I knew we were going, I definitely would have started. I would have woken up very early, or as soon as I woke up, got started on Daima immediately, just so I can get a head start on that. But no, so I'm starting this review in the back. So this review is probably coming later than usual. Sorry about that, guys. There you go. Getting sidetracked on the story. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's get through the episode itself. Obviously, the big thing with this episode is that we finally got to see Super Saiyan 4 is finally canon. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the form from GT that was easily everyone's favorite part of GT, Super Saiyan 4, has officially been canonized by Toriyama himself in Dragon Ball Daima. Which, obviously, in retrospect, given Toriyama's passing, I think this makes it even more potent and stronger moment that one of Toriyama's last kisses to Dragon Ball, to the fans of Dragon Ball, is finally canonizing Super Saiyan 4, which obviously people have been begging for that to be a canon form for years. It's been a very popular since GT and all the Dragon Ball games and whatnot. So the fact that one of Toriyama's last gifts, the last things he did before his passing was canonize Dragon Ball, Super Saiyan 4, in Daima is awesome, man. So shout out to that, man. And yeah, man, this episode itself was phenomenal. Obviously, with Super Saiyan 4 now being officially canonized, this does make the question: if he had this form, why didn't we ever see it in Super? And obviously, the obvious answer to that is it didn't exist when Toriyama was writing Super. But obviously, in universe, it's a separate thing. And now, given the way how Goku did get a lot of this form through Neva, I wouldn't be surprised this is some exclusive thing that only Neva could give him the power up for that we'll see in Daima, and not something he can just easily tap into. Which obviously would make it even more confused why we never saw this in Super, which takes place after Daima. That's one of my initial assumptions. Obviously, we'll have to wait probably until the next 2 episodes, which we have gotten confirmation are going to be dropping the same time next week. We're going to get 2-for-1 special for Dragon Ball Daima for episode 19 20. They're both going to be dropping next week. I'm not going to be doing one huge review for both episodes like I do for Bleach, because these episodes were not an hour-long special together initially. So I will be doing 2 separate reviews for that one, 2 separate reactions for both episodes, possibly. 19 is definitely a reaction. I don't know if I'm going to do 20 as well. It kind of depends on what happens in episode 20. I might do a reaction to that episode as well. But yeah, so yeah, I'll be doing 2 separate reviews next week, man. Not gonna lie, I might record one of them on Saturday, just so on Sunday I'm good and I only have to do the 1 review. We'll have to see how that turns out, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, guys, I've rambled on long enough, man. So let's just jump right into the actual episode. So we start the episode off immediately where we left off last week with Goku going Super Saiyan 3. And actually, you guys know what the last couple of episodes have they done? They have done the opening narration plus the OP. This time, no opening narration. This time, they just go straight into the actual OP and then go pick up right, basically, with a little bit of recap, pick up right where we left off the previous episode. Anyway, after Goku's transformed to Super Saiyan 3, we see Vegeta, Piccolo, and the Supreme Kai all down on the ground next to Bulma and Pansy. They're both there all like heavy breathing, obviously, you know, tired from the fight. And saying like you and Supreme Kai says Goku to win. King Gomon is like, oh, how many more magic tricks do you got? And first of all, I gotta say, I loved the sound design for this episode, I must say. I love the sound effects they were using for like the lightning. For the lightning, when like the lightning starts popping around Goku as he's in Super Saiyan 3, it looked amazing. The sound effects when he's like charging up his ki and whatnot sounded familiar to usually a concept, but there were definitely some new ones as well that sounded really fucking good. The sound design in this episode I thought sounded really freaking good. So then Goku like starts like slowly charging towards King Gomon. This I thought looked a little bit bizarre. It felt like Goku was almost going in slow motion for some reason. I thought it was a little bit bizarre before he like basically teleports right in front of King Gomon, punches him right in the stomach, just like the usual, you know, the whole usually thing with the over-exaggerated expression that we typically see in Dragon Ball from a gut punch. Which, to be fair, a gut punch does fucking hurt, to be fair, man. But like Dragon Ball is always very expressive and exaggerated when it comes to gut punches, man. With like saliva going everywhere, man. It's a whole thing. So Goku and King Gomon start to fight off and trade blows with one another. Animation though, this whole episode I must say was fantastic. Now, once again, this is an episode that for some reason Toei Perfect Shots posts only one cut of, which we'll obviously talk about when we get to that part of the episode. But then when I checked this episode about Sakagaboro, a lot of the cuts did have unknown animators attached to them. They didn't know they were not credited to a particular animator. So this episode kind of makes sense why there wasn't a lot of cuts posted, because there just wasn't a lot of cuts that actually had animators attached, even presumably had a lot of animators attached. There was like only like a handful. The rest, there was a good chunk of them that were like animator unknown or whatever. So while they're trading blows, Majin Ku says like he's powerful. He's like, oh wait, that's it. And then eventually both Mountain Dew and Tamagami number 1 join back in the fight to help up against Goku. They don't do a lot of much damage. While Goku to him, he mostly they more or less maybe get like 1 or 2 hits in before King Gomon like deflects them and they're sent into the Shadow Realm. But anyway, while this is all going down, then you have Majin Ku coming in there and coming up with this big ass chocolate chip cookie. Literally, this thing is fucking massive. This is like one of the biggest cookies I've ever seen. Does this whole little ballerina dance thing before he throws it over to Mountain Dew like a frisbee, lands directly in the mouth, which the animation did look really good. This was a really nice cut. Lands right into Mountain Dew's mouth, and he's like, and he like instantly awakens and chomps down the entire thing. So I love chocolate, which of course, I immediately, when I was watching this, you guys just see my reaction to the episode. I immediately thought of the scene from SpongeBob where he's like, chocolate, chocolate, chocolate. I immediately thought of that scene. Every time I see chocolate, man, I just think of that episode of SpongeBob with the chocolate. Chocolate! Chocolate! Still one of SpongeBob's most iconic moments, man. I love that. That's such an icon moment. Anyway, Mountain Dew starts charging up there, and I guess from watching Goku transform into Super Saiyan 3 while he's screaming his head off and charging his ki, Mountain Dew does the same and somehow grows spiky hair. I don't know how that's even possible. Does that mean that, and he has his own aura next around him like Goku does? I don't know if this means he too has achieved Super Saiyan 3 somehow, or he's just powered up and just looks like him. But I thought that was a little bit bizarre, that whole thing. But anyway, they team up once again, which we also got some really nice cuts with Mountain Dew stretching arm, and it looked really good, swinging him around, throwing him around the place, and also gives him the Jotaro special, but then immediately afterwards gets winded. He's like, the dude is absolutely winded after that little burst he had there, man, which I'm pretty sure was like the last time we actually saw Mountain Dew actually do any fighting for the rest of the episode, I think. I could be wrong on that one, but I'm pretty sure this might have been like the last time he really did anything in any terms of fighting until like maybe like the very end of the episode once Goku went Super Saiyan 4. By this point, the dude was out, he was winded, and he was done. He was tapping out. So then it's back to just Goku and Tamagami number 1 battling on, which obviously didn't do much. We get to see a third eye start to release like this giant eye beam from King Gomon. I'm pretty sure this whole part of this, whenever it was like these far back shots when King Gomon was firing off his like eye cannon thing, was completely CGI. Either way, it looked fantastic. I also got to say, loved the colors. The coloring in this episode, once again, color script, I don't know whoever was in charge of this part of the episode, man, did an amazing job. The colors in the episode were absolutely spectacular, man, and I love the effects. The effects for this episode was also absolutely sensational as well, man. This episode was just beautiful to look at, man. It was incredible. So then King Goma starts to beat the shit out of Goku, stomps on him, and then just starts ping-ponging him around. Where he then falls, eventually Goku just falls down to the ground, just absolutely exhausted from the battle ahead. King Goma unleashes, it's like charging up like this giant beam, this giant like circular attack that definitely reminded me of like Frieza's finger cannon thing. It definitely felt reminiscent of that attack. While all this is going on, he's charging up. You see Neva go in there and like fuse Goku with some of his energy or whatever like this like light thing he had in his hand that he threw into Goku, and we see him transform into Super Saiyan 4. Which this cut was actually, which we do actually know the animation was cut, which was done by Sanda, if I'm pronouncing it right, and Tadayoshi Yamamoto, if I'm pronouncing the names right. Those are the two animators that worked on this particular cut for Goku for Super Saiyan 4 transformation. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, looked absolutely incredible, man. I love the way this was done. The colors in this episode, the coloring here, the effects work, man. Everything was just beautiful to look. It was such an incredible cut. I love the little bits of fire they added while Goku was transforming. He was screaming, man. Just spectacular work, man. And also got to give a big shout out to Stephanie, man. She was absolutely sensational this episode, man. Her screams were phenomenal. And like you guys may remember, when we first saw Stephanie transform Super Saiyan 1 early on in Daima, there were some people criticizing her screams and they weren't as good and whatnot. And I'm like, bro, she hasn't done this shit in like 20 years. Cut the woman some slack. She's like also like really old now. I think she's like in her 50s now. If not her saying that, so cut the woman some slack. This is her first time doing any voice acting since like the 2000s. You know what I mean? But I thought she sounded great, man. And honestly, she sounded brilliant this episode, man. Like I said, she sounded absolutely. Her screams for Super Saiyan 4 were phenomenal. She sounded incredible here, man. So Goku finally transformed, man. I also love this shot where we see Goku where like his eyes are blacked out with like the little like white eyelids and like the blue flames around his eye, man. That shot was absolutely incredible as well, man. An amazing transformation sequence, man. This was absolutely just incredible, man. And once again, it's also just sick to finally see Super Saiyan 4 is actually canon now in Dragon Ball, fully by Toriyama himself, man. Which, you know, is crazy, especially considering this was like the last thing he worked on before his passing, man. So I think it makes this whole thing extra special that he yelled that before his passing he did canonize Super Saiyan 4. Anyway, this is when we get the commercials, man. We get the first commercial part, but the second one, man, we don't. We just get that. We get the first one with Goku's twirling the power pole, and then it gets right back to the action. They didn't give us the other one with like with a fucking glory. They're like, no, fuck that shit. We're getting right back into the action, man, which was kind of surprising. So now Goku is now in favor of the matchup against King Goma. He like stops his attack, man. He's like trying to back away. And he's like, nah, man. Starts throwing him around and whatnot, man. Really landing some really deep, landing some really big blows on King Goma. But King Goma takes the advantage back up with another punch and sends Goku flying through some rubble. This cut was probably one of my favorite cuts of the episode, where he like grabs on one of like the like mountaintop pillar things, grabs on it, slides around him before he goes right back to fighting King Goma, man. This was absolutely incredible. This was also one of my favorite cuts of the episode, which I should have it here on who the animator was for this sequence. Toshiyuki Sato was the animator for this cut of the episode, man. Like I said, phenomenal work. This is one of my favorite cuts of the episode. And then right after that one, man, we have King Goma fire some key attacks at Goku, where then he starts dodging them, man, and like starts like this was really cool when he's like dodging them and like running up like some of the rubble that's coming off from their attacks. One of them he like kind of like crawls on all four like a monkey, which I thought was really cool. Which this cut was actually handled by Ano. That's literally the dude's name. When I checked this episode out on Sakugabora on Toei, perfect shot. His name is literally Ano. Like, I don't know if that's meant to be short for anonymous or that's just literally his name, man. But I thought that was kind of funny that his name was just Ano. But which I wouldn't be surprised that's some sort of like stage name or something, man. that sounds like a Twitter. This feels like this. I won't be surprised. This is one of those like Twitter webgen animators, man, that got big off of Twitter, man. That's like literally his ad or something. I would not be surprised. There are certain animators there where you can tell that's definitely just their Twitter ad that they're getting credited under. This one feels like one of those times. But anyway, man, this was another amazing cut of the episode. Afterwards, man, Goku is now kind of seemingly standing tall, while King Goma is now on the back foot, man. At least as it seems right now, where Goku has the upper hand. Also, I gotta say that little spin he does that Goku has right before he throws the ki blast right back at King Goma, man. Oh my god, bro. That was so good. Like, that was just clearly just flexing for no reason, man. Like, because there was no reason you need that extra flipper there, but he did anyway. I love it. It just had the extra style points, so. After that, man, this is when Glorio jumps back into the fight. The first time guy #1, Mountain Dew all joined in the fight with Goku along with Supreme Kai and Piccolo. For some reason, Vegeta remains benched. I don't know why they had to bench my GOAT. Why couldn't you bench Supreme Kai? Why did they bench Vegeta? So they start fighting once again, man. Once again, animation is great here, man. Colors, effects work, man. Everything is fantastic here, man. We then see Goku. Eventually, we have Goku and King Goma fighting inside like one of the inside one of like the pillars or whatever, the mountain ranges, where they now were now where Goku is in a red silhouette while King Goma is in a blue silhouette. Low-key kind of reminding me of the first Death Note OP Naka, like which they did a similar thing with it. Which this cut was actually done by Alex Torres, if I pronounce it right. So yeah, this dude's definitely American or Western at the very least. Which then after which, as they fight, man, they continue the fight, which get them outside the pillar mountain thing they were fighting in, and Gomon goes through a few number of them, which once again, animation here looks fantastic. Once Gomon kind of like is like charges right back towards Goku, we see Goku's charging up his ki, and we see like these little ripples appearing in his aura, man. It looked fucking amazing. And then Goku starts charging up. This is when Glorio starts charging up his ki and screaming as well. I thought man was about to transform as well, but no, he just like has like the standard like white aura around him as he charges right back into the fight. Piccolo then unleashes his special beam cannon, while Glorio does his own ki attack, and we get some really nice effects when we have the beam struggle, man. Colors once again were phenomenal, man. I loved it. It was just Daima has honestly had some of the best use of color I've seen in anime recently, man. The colors that they use in like this episode, obviously the Vegeta episode when he went Super Saiyan 3, man, were just phenomenal. Like I don't know, color script, the color designer, whoever is in charge of this, man, shout out to them, man. They did an absolutely sensational job. And then this is when Goku starts charging up his Kamehameha. The screen turns yellow, man. It looked amazing. This cut was actually handled by Alex Torres as well. This was also done. The dude got 2 cuts this episode, which looked amazing. He starts charging up the Kamehameha. King Gomon rushes towards him, manages to punch Goku, which sends him flying backwards, man, which makes you think like, oh no, he didn't get the Kamehameha, it's over. But then afterwards, we see the screen turn to gray, where we see he was kind of like hiding the Kamehameha behind him, and he like starts to turn around and fires over at King Gomon. We got some fires on it as well. Effects animation here was once again spectacular. But this cut was handled by Ken Otsuka, was the animator behind this cut. Phenomenal work, man. Phenomenal work. So now there's this giant hole in the ground where obviously King Gomon is, and it seems like he was defeated. But then we see the third eye do some bullshit, man, and we see like the CG looking force field surround him as he transforms, which basically now turns King Gomon into the size of a fucking kaiju. So, yeah, and the Gomon quick makes easy work of Goku, man. Puts him in like this barrier thing that sucks away all his power, returning him back to his base form, seemingly. And then that's when he gets a call from Supreme Kai's sister, from Glorio, telling him, like, hey, get the Dragon Balls, it's time. So he goes over to Hybis, man. This cut was also really well as well. The animation in this episode was so good, man. I don't know who directed this episode off the top of my head. I didn't check keyframe, staff look to see who directed it, but shout out to whoever directed this episode, man. They did an absolutely phenomenal job. But anyway, I love how when he's going towards Hybis, it's in a first person view, man. You guys know I'm a sucker for that sort of thing. And then once he returns to Hybis, then we see a close zoom in on Glorio's face as the screen turns to gray, man. Phenomenal work before he reaches back over with Supreme Kai's sister, where we found that she indeed wants to become the Demon King. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't she say in the previous episode she didn't want to be Demon King? I could be wrong on that one, because I might be just misremembering, but I'm pretty sure she said she didn't want to be Demon King. She just wanted to be the strongest in the demon world. And I'm pretty sure I mentioned in her review, I don't know how you could do it without being the Demon King. So I guess I was right, and she ended up wanting to be the Demon King anyway, even though she just said in the previous episode she didn't. I could be misremembering the last episode wrongly, and if I am, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But I'm pretty sure in the last episode she said she did not want to be the Demon King. And Glorio's obviously conflicted about this. He wants to does he follow what Arinsu wants him to do and not make her the Demon King, or does he probably use this wish to make Goku and everyone adults again? And so he's very, like I said, conflicted about this. This is when the rest the character's real, it's like, oh shit, he is a filthy fucking traitor. You actually have, I guess this is really just to show how powerful Porunga is once they finally summon him. Who I actually thought was interesting that here in the demon world, he is red compared to how Namek he's green. I thought that was interesting difference between the demon world Dragon Balls and the demon realm Dragon Balls and the Namekian Dragon Balls, they're the same size. I thought that was interesting that they are from, that they're like he's green while here he's red. And I like the red. And the whole transformation sequence as well was really well done. I'm pretty sure most of it was a little bit like this, the opening one of it was CGI, but definitely looks like for some of these shots they definitely have Porunga be true. He was hand drawn, not like with Shenron. I'm pretty sure Shenron, when we saw him in the Star of Daima, he was completely CG. I could be wrong that one, but I'm pretty sure it was completely CG. Here, there was a couple shots where he was definitely hand drawn. Anyway, as I was saying, King Goemon rushes towards the takedown Porunga and punch him, but then literally Porunga just flicks him away, man, like he's a fly. That was pretty funny. So, like I said, Glorio's conflicted, Arthur tell him, like, make the damn wish, blah, blah, blah. Eventually, he says some bullshit in Namekian, and that is where the episode ends. Next episode, Pretty didn't give us any hints about what is happening as well, but I think we all could probably guess, considering, this is a prequel after all that, probably he does wish for them to turn back, to Goku and the crew turn back into adults, instead of giving R and Sue, ultimate power. That was my favorite, but I'll say I could be wrong. We'll find in the next 2 episodes. Anyway, guys, so this video off. Overall, I give this episode a 10 out of fucking 10. Now, if you were asking me if this is my favorite episode of Daima, no, I think I would still say I like the Vegeta episode a little bit more when he was Super Saiyan 3. That's definitely my own personal bias, but if we're talking purely on animation quality, this is easily the best episode of Daima so far. We'll have to wait and see if the throne, if it keeps that throne for the next when the next 2 episodes drop. We'll have to wait and see on that. But anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me so you feel like it. Links across below, and as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.